By the 1990s, one of the most respected engines on British roads sat under the cab of a Dutch truck, the mighty DAF. Drivers praised its smoothness, its pulling power, its refinement. But here is the secret almost none of them knew: that brilliant Dutch engine was British. Its design came straight from Leyland, the very company Britain let collapse. The Dutch took an engine Britain gave up on, perfected it, and sold it back to us for 30 years. This is the story of the Leyland 680's astonishing afterlife, the British engine that conquered Britain wearing Dutch colours. In the 1950s, Leyland Motors dominated the global commercial vehicle market. From its massive factories in Lancashire, the company exported heavy trucks and buses to almost every corner of the world, building a formidable reputation for British engineering. At the heart of this post-war success was an engine introduced in 1952, the 0680. This 11.1-litre inline-six diesel power plant was built on straightforward, dependable design. Producing 150 horsepower at 2,000 revolutions per minute, it established its name on reliability, powering iconic double-decker buses and heavy long-haul lorries across thousands of trouble-free miles. Leyland's engineering was so highly regarded that manufacturers worldwide wanted access to it. Secure in its dominant position, the British giant routinely licensed its engine technology to foreign builders for a fee, viewing it as easy revenue. Among those seeking a license was a small, ambitious Dutch trailer manufacturer named DAF. In 1957, Leyland signed the paperwork that handed its prized blueprints to the Dutch firm. It was a simple commercial transaction, but it began a process where the hungry student would eventually overtake the complacent master. In the southern Dutch city of Eindhoven, Hub van Doorn had built a business on steel and sweat. Starting in 1928 as a modest trailer manufacturer, Van Doorn's automobile fabriek, DAF, had spent decades mastering chassis design but lacked the resources to build its own engines. By the mid-1950s, the company recognised that relying on third-party petrol and light diesel imports would limit its heavy truck ambitions. The solution arrived on November 13, 1957, when DAF opened a new engine plant specifically designed to assemble Leyland engines under licence. The Dutch team refused to be passive partners. While the British master viewed the transaction as easy royalty income from a finished product, the Dutch pupil saw the Leyland 680 blueprints as a foundation. DAF's first engineering team, working in Eindhoven, immediately treated the licensed design as a starting block to be systematically improved. They adapted the British components to continental production standards, preparing to strip, refine and reshape the engine year by year. DAF possessed the hunger and patience that Leyland, secure in its global dominance, was beginning to lose. In the late 1950s, a clear philosophical divide split British and continental engineering. Across the United Kingdom, legendary engine builders like Gardner chose a path of uncompromising conservatism. Gardner believed that turbocharging was an unnecessary complication that compromised engine reliability, opting instead to extract power through traditional, naturally aspirated designs. DAF saw a different future. In 1959, just 2 years after acquiring the Leyland blueprints, the Dutch company bypassed British caution by fitting a turbocharger to a production diesel. This forced induction system used exhaust gases to spin a turbine, cramming denser air into the cylinders to burn fuel more efficiently. While British manufacturers clung to simple, non-turbocharged designs, Eindhoven kept pushing. In 1973, DAF introduced a turbo intercooler system. By running the compressed intake air through a heat exchanger before it entered the engine, they cooled the air from 150 degrees down to 70 degrees. Cooler air is denser air, allowing even more oxygen into the combustion chambers. This resulted in a far stronger, cleaner, and more efficient burn. The impact on performance was immediate. The old Leyland-derived architecture, once a symbol of solid but uninspired British reliability, was transformed into a far more capable Dutch engine producing 40% more torque than its naturally aspirated ancestors. European trade journals were stunned, with contemporary reviews declaring that DAF's forced induction technology had put the Dutch firm a full decade ahead of its European competition. Back in Britain, manufacturers watched the market shift beneath them, still reluctant to embrace the turbocharger. The student had not only understood the lesson, they had completely rewritten the textbook, while the master stood still. By the late 1970s, DAF shifted its focus to the physical limits of the engine casting itself. To feed Europe's growing appetite for high-torque, heavy haulage, Eindhoven engineers lengthened the stroke of the licensed British block to 150mm while maintaining the original 127mm bore. This mechanical enlargement created the 11.6-litre DKS power plant. Debuting in the heavy-duty DAF 2800 range, this sturdy engine delivered 320 horsepower and 1,260 Newton-meters of torque. But a major shift arrived in September 1985 when DAF introduced advanced turbo intercooling, or ATI. By combining a twin-scroll turbocharger, an air-to-air intercooler and refined electronic fuel injection timing, ATI shaved 8% off fuel consumption while pushing outputs up to 380 horsepower. This potent blend of increased power and economy made the 3600 range a major sales success, turning DAF's inherited British design into a genuine European market leader, while Leyland's own domestic market collapsed. British fleet operators had already warmed to the Dutch brand through the DAF 2300, a rugged tractor that established Eindhoven's reliability across the United Kingdom. Then, in August 1987, DAF delivered the definitive blow with the launch of the DAF 95. Under the cab sat the refined 11.6-litre ATI engine, running at 310, 350 and 380 horsepower. This machine swept the continent, winning the coveted International Truck of the Year award in 1988. Beyond sheer efficiency, drivers praised a cab so heavily insulated that road testers clocked it as quieter than most luxury passenger cars. British hauliers bought the trucks in record numbers. The ultimate irony was unfolding on British motorways. UK transport companies were now moving their economy using an engine perfected in the Netherlands, built from the very blueprints Leyland had discarded as simple royalty cash. In February 1987, the corporate boundaries dissolved. Leyland Trucks and DAF merged, creating a joint venture controlled by the Dutch firm. The long relationship between the two companies had completely inverted. The modest trailer manufacturer from Eindhoven that had arrived in Lancashire 30 years earlier, seeking engine blueprints, was now the outright owner of the British firm. This ownership change brought the engine lineage back to its physical birthplace. Inside the assembly halls, workers who had once built the original 0.680 now unpacked Dutch crates containing the ATI units. DAF trucks, powered by the Dutch developed 11.6-litre engine, were now assembled on the production lines of the historic Lancashire plant. The engine block, born as a British design in 1952, had returned home under a foreign badge. Britain had built a fine engine, licensed it away, watched it perfected abroad, and then watched the rival buy what remained of its creator. Few industrial stories capture the tragic irony of British manufacturing decline more completely. Leyland's tragedy was not a lack of genius, but a lack of ambition. In the end, brilliant engineering does not belong to those who invent it, but to those hungry enough to perfect it. Subscribe for new videos every 3 days.